Imagine this, a dramatic shift in U.S. military action that could pull America closer to war without Congress ever declaring it, and lawmakers in Washington scrambling to regain control. That's exactly what's happening right now with the Venezuela War Powers Resolution, and today we're breaking down the explosive politics, the failed votes, and what it means for U.S. power and global stability. This week, the U.S. House of Representatives dealt a stunning blow to efforts aimed at limiting the president's ability to use military force without explicit congressional authorization. In narrow votes, lawmakers rejected a bipartisan war powers resolution that would have blocked President Trump from using U.S. military force against Venezuela unless Congress first acted. The final tally saw Democrats and a handful of Republicans pushing back, but ultimately falling short. At the heart of this fight is the Venezuela War Powers Resolution, legislation designed to reassert Congress's constitutional authority over decisions that could lead to hostilities or even open conflict. Under the U.S. Constitution, only Congress has the power to declare war. But the Trump administration's recent military engagements off the coast of Venezuela, including lethal strikes on vessels the Pentagon says were moving drugs toward the U.S., have raised deep concerns. Republicans defended the administration's actions, saying the strikes are part of a legitimate campaign against drug cartels and narco-terror networks that threaten American families. But critics argued that these operations have gone far beyond interdiction, resulting in dozens of deaths, raising legal questions, and potentially dragging the United States into unintended conflict. Democrats and some Republicans alike attempted to force a vote on a Venezuela War Powers Resolution that would stop further military action unless Congress explicitly authorized it. They stressed that U.S. forces should not be placed in harm's way or engaging in hostilities without the full support of the people's representatives. That fight was not new. Earlier this year, similar attempts in the Senate to curb these strikes under the Venezuela War Powers Resolution framework were narrowly defeated. Bipartisan concerns about unchecked presidential military authority have echoed through both chambers of Congress, but they have yet to translate into a binding law. Complicating matters further, the Pentagon has refused to release full footage of controversial strikes on suspected drug smuggling boats that resulted in fatalities. Some lawmakers hoped the Venezuela War Powers Resolution would also shed light on whether these actions complied with U.S. and international law. Meanwhile, President Trump has significantly escalated pressure on the Venezuelan regime of President Nicolas Maduro. The administration has seized oil tankers it brands as illicit, labeled Venezuelan government forces as foreign terrorist organizations, and even ordered a total blockade of sanctioned oil tankers into and out of Venezuelan ports. These moves have sparked sharp international criticism and fueled fears that U.S. military involvement in the region could expand. All of this comes as global oil prices rise, Venezuelan officials call U.S. actions piracy, and international legal experts warn that using military force without congressional approval sets a dangerous precedent, not just for Venezuela but for U.S. foreign policy writ large. If the Venezuela War Powers Resolution had passed, it could have forced a national debate on whether the United States should continue or expand its military operations in Latin America, and under what conditions. Instead, Congress's inability to reach consensus leaves the president with broad executive authority, a development that will likely fuel even fiercer debates in the months ahead. Stay tuned as this story develops, because whether you care about constitutional powers, U.S. military involvement abroad, or the future of American democracy, the fallout from this Venezuela War Powers Resolution fight will be felt far beyond Capitol Hill.